This is KGW News at 5.
She was beautiful. She was loving. She had a passion for life.
And her death set a new record for homicides in Portland. Gun violence is plaguing the city. Thanks for joining us tonight here at 5. The record number of shootings has left a lot of families grieving. Christine Pitawanich talked with the brother of the woman killed this week in Northwest Portland.
It's been the hardest week for my entire family, the hardest week of our lives.
Dustin White's little sister, Ashley Walker, was one of 2 people shot and killed in a Northwest Portland apartment on Sunday.
To lose her so tragically and without warning or anything, it's devastating.
He says his sister loved life.
She was beautiful. She was loving. She had a passion for life. She loved music. She's really into cosplay and dressing up as like Princess Leia from Star Wars. And she loved to take her kids to like Comic-Con.
But her vibrant and joyful life was cut short. Investigators say the man who allegedly killed Walker, Michael Van Domlin, had told police he'd been using meth and heard voices in his head telling him to shoot people.
I, of course, blame her killer, but I also place a lot of blame on the leadership in Portland, Oregon.
White believes more could have been done to prevent his sister's death and says city and state leaders need to better address mental health and substance abuse issues.
It's just going to continue devastating family after family, and that's not fair. There are things that people can do. They need to try harder.
He doesn't know much about Daniel Davis, the man who was also killed in the apartment. All he knows is his sister was friends with him and was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
She's my little sister, and I love her. And my family's going to miss her severely.
Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.
And Walker leaves behind 2 sons who are 14 and 8 years old. Her family says a GoFundMe page has been set up to help pay for funeral expenses and to support her children. Portland police are asking for any information after a bullet hit a TriMet bus last night. It happened around 10:40 on Southwest 5th and Oak. You can see right there where the bullet went right through the driver's side window. Police say there were 2 people who were fighting nearby before the shot was fired. There was only 1 passenger on the bus at the time of the shooting and no one was hurt. Crime Stoppers is now offering a cash reward for any information on the shooting deaths of 2 men earlier this year. On February 27th, Portland police say 39-year-old William Peters and 36-year-old Adam Arambide were shot outside a bar along Southeast McLaughlin in the Selwood neighborhood. Investigators think there are witnesses who have not come forward. You can submit tips anonymously at crimestoppersoforegon.com. The Portland Firefighters Association is asking the city for a boost in funding so it can fully staff a fire station in Southeast Portland. As KGW's Mike Benner reports, Fire Station 23 is the only one in the city with just 2 people on duty at any given time.
This video shows what would turn out to be a 2-alarm fire torching a vacant building at the corner of Southeast 28th and Powell. The hot flames also damaged some nearby structures and sent smoke billowing into the sky.
And I remember just waking up and being like, oh, the air quality sucks again. I have asthma, so if I wake up in the morning, the air quality sucks, I can really tell.
While Vivi Brayman knows all about that, she knows nothing about the fire station that serves the area. Fire Station 23 near Southeast Powell and Milwaukee is understaffed. There's no fire engine or truck.
That sucks. I wish they'd get a fire truck. I'm a little surprised. I wouldn't have guessed that.
So we closed this station in the mid-2000s and we reopened it in about 2017 with just 2 people there on duty per day. And so they're in what looks like somewhat like an ambulance driving around, and that is their first response out. There's only 2 people on an ambulance type of vehicle every day at that station.
Alan Ferschweiler is the president of the Portland Firefighters Association. He says if Station 23 was fully staffed, with 4 people instead of 2, there's a chance the vacant building at 28th and Powell would still be standing.
If that engine would have been there instead of a 2-person company, they can start putting on the water on the fire before it continues to build rapidly, very big.
The union is now advocating for additional staffing at Fire Station 23. The union's asking the city to give some of its millions of dollars in extra tax revenue to the Fire Bureau, specifically Fire Station 23.
Since we have 2 people there, we would just need 2 more firefighters every day to bring it up to a fully staffed engine company. So it's a very reasonable ask, in my opinion.
A reasonable ask, according to neighbors as well. They too want a full-service fire department.
I can't trust the fire station can help me, so that's kind of disappointing.
So hearing that they don't even have an engine is kind of insane. How are they supposed to operate?
We did reach out to Commissioner Joanne Hardesty's office. The commissioner is, of course, in charge of the Fire Bureau. She tells us the Bureau is actually not even eligible for any of the extra tax revenue. She says that's typically set aside for things that require one-time funding. Not all hope is lost, though. The commissioner says she is willing to work with the Bureau during the regular budget process. Reporting in Southeast Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
A town on the southern Oregon coast is restricting how often churches can serve food to homeless people. The city council in Brookings is limiting it to just 2 days a week, and one reverend tells KGW he does not plan to comply with that new ordinance. This all started back in April when Reverend Bernie Lindley with the St. Timothy's Episcopal started serving food 4 days a week because of an increased need during the pandemic. Neighbors living near the church complained about incidents of trespassing and crime, which ultimately led to City Council unanimously passing this new ordinance. Reverend Lindley, though, says his church plans on feeding people 4 days a week.
We've already been given the application for the permit. We're not going to fill it out. At some point, there'll be a deadline that we'll miss. At some point, we'll get sent a fine, that we're being fined. We'll refuse to pay, and that's when we'll file a lawsuit in federal court, and we'll let the judge decide if we'll let the judge decide if our constitutional right to exercise our religion through the feeding of people in a soup kitchen in our church basement is protected by the First Amendment.
Coming up on the story at 6 o'clock, we'll hear more from that reverend and hear from neighbors who have been pushing for the ordinance. The city of Portland is considering putting a small homeless village next to Fern Hill Park in Northeast Portland. It submitted the idea to the Portland School District a few days ago. It's the location of the former Whitaker Middle School, torn down in part because of problems with radon gas in the ground beneath the school. It's unclear if that problem remains. School board member Julia Brim Edwards, speaking only for herself, said the city needs to talk with neighbors.
One thing that is concerning is at the time the city sent the proposal over, they haven't yet had any engagement with the neighboring community. And that would certainly be important from my perspective as a board member, that the neighboring community be consulted and engaged about a project the city is going to put there.
So the school was torn down here 14 years ago and nothing replaced it. 2 other proposals for the same property include a regional sports complex City Commissioner Dan Ryan expected to have 6 homeless villages up and running by the end of the year. So far, only 2 locations are in the earliest stages of construction. Frustrations are growing along with the mounting trash, crime, and illegal camping in parts of Northeast Portland. The city and the Port of Portland continue shifting blame on who's responsible for clearing certain areas near the Columbia River. People who live in the East Columbia neighborhood say they are tired of feeling ignored. Ed Hesse lives in East Columbia. He wants the mayor and city council members to know what it's like to live in their corner of Portland.
Violence, theft, houselessness, just endless piles of trash. No one's even called to give me the runaround. We're not being heard.
Multiple neighbors we spoke to said they will continue to voice their concerns to city leaders until they find a solution. Kids as young as 5 will likely be able to get Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine early next month. The Food and Drug Administration approved it today for children ages 5 to 11. An FDA committee concluded the benefits of vaccination outweigh its risks.
Obviously, there For example, the polls have showed that some parents are going to be hesitant about vaccinating this age group, but that was true for adults at the beginning of the pandemic. There were a large number of people said they would wait and see. So we certainly hope that as people see children getting vaccinated and being protected and being able to participate in activities without concern, that more and more people will get their kids vaccinated.
Pfizer says in tests, its vaccine was nearly 91% effective at preventing symptomatic illness in children, adding that it appears to hold up well against the highly transmissible Delta variant. The decision, along with an okay from the CDC next week, would pave the way for kids to start getting the shots by early November. Nearly 90% of public K-12 employees in Washington are fully vaccinated against COVID now. Two of the largest school districts in the state, Evergreen and Vancouver, reported vaccination rates of 91.2% and 92.4% respectively. That's higher than the state's overall average of about 63%. 69% of Washingtonians have at least one dose, and statewide only 9.6% of public schools employees received a religious exemption.